This one's about Excel's filtering capability. We're going to first turn the filter on in one of a couple ways after we identify where we do that. Then we'll look at the filter drop-down menu that's set up for each of the column headings. In that drop-down menu, there's some search functionality that's very convenient to be able to use. We can also select a cell in a data range and use that cell to establish the criteria for doing the filtering in terms of its value, its font color or fill color, or the icon that's in the cell. I've got a spreadsheet set up with some data that's sort of random data borrowed from different places to demonstrate the filtering capabilities of Excel. The first thing we want to do is show you where the filter is. It can be found in one of two places. On the Home tab, which is where we are, in the Editing group, there's a Sort and Filter command. When you left-click that, we get the option to establish a filter by left-clicking the funnel, which equals filter. That's the filter icon. And the other place you find it is on the Data tab in the Sort and Filter group, and the funnel filter icon is right there. So before you set up a filter, your data has to be oriented in a way that is columnar. It's from top to bottom, and at the top of the data, there's a data label or a header for that column. We have that here, but we also have in column K the right structure for the data, except that it's removed by two columns from the bulk of the data. That's okay. You can include that in the filter range, and you can do that in one of two ways. I can left-click and drag across the entire range of headers and set up the filter, and we have a drop-down menu that's displayed in each cell that's contained within the range that I selected, including I and J where there isn't any data at all. I'm going to turn that off by left-clicking it again. It's a toggle switch. Another way that I could have selected these headers is to left-click and select the entire row, and then I can left-click and set up the filter that way. I'm going to left-click and turn it off. But if I just want the filter to be applied on this contiguous data range, I can select anywhere on that range, including the headers, and left-click and toggle the filter on, and this time I exclude the content that's in column K. So when we turn the filter on, we get the drop-down menu in each of the header records. But the problem with that is it is overlapping the content that's in the header record. So we can't read, as well as we could before, the label for that column. The way to fix this, and this is usually what I do, is expand the height of the row, select the contents in the row, either by left-clicking and selecting row 5, or clicking and dragging and selecting the range that way. Go to the Home tab and either center align or top align those labels so that they're separated from the drop-down. And now we can read those and see the drop-down a little more clearly as well. So we have our filter set up from columns B to columns H, and in order to apply a filter, we need to set one up specifically for a column. And in the filter drop-down menu, we first have the option to sort the data. Since we have values or numbers in this column, Excel gives us the option to sort from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. And we have no colors, so we couldn't sort by colors. And I'm going to skip the number filters, which are special filters associated with numbers that we're going to cover in the next movie, and go down to the list that's displayed at the bottom of the menu. And if this list is so long that you need more room to display the content, you can left-click these three dots and expand out the size of the box. So how does this work? It really depends upon what you're after. If I know that I want the first three numbers, for instance, I can left-click Select All, and it'll deselect all, and then left-click the three numbers that I want to display or filter the data on, left-click OK, and I've got those three numbers. When we set up a filter, there's three things that happen. The funnel, the filter icon, shows up on the drop-down arrow. The rows that have been filtered are displayed in a blue font instead of a black font. And when I hover over that drop-down, Excel shows me the column header, which is value, and then it shows me what filter's been applied to that column. So I'm going to clear that filter by one of the ways you can do it, which is to reselect all, left-clicking OK. I get my data established back in full force now. Going to the date column, left-clicking the drop-down, I can, of course, sort the data, and this time the sort options are oldest to newest instead of smallest to largest, and newest to oldest because we're dealing with dates. And again, I'm going to skip the date filters. That'll be covered in the next movie. And I'm going to go down to the groupings at the bottom of the menu. Again, we can expand the box, the size of the box, to show all of the months of the year. And this display is a default setting for Excel in that we have dates that are grouped first by year and then by month. And when you have a little plus sign, you can click that and expand out to see all the days of the month. I'll close that. But you have the option to display all of the individual data points by going back to the Excel Options dialog box. I'm going to left click to deselect the headers and press Alt-FT. Go to the Advanced area, scroll down, and deselect Group Dates in the Auto Filter menu. I'm going to deselect that, left click OK. And now when I left click the drop down, I get the individual days displayed, January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and so on. I'm going to go to the next column, column D, which has text, and left-click the drop-down arrow. And again, we have the option to sort the data, sorting from A to Z or Z to A, since we're dealing with text this time. And I'm going to skip the special text filters again for now, and go down to the list at the bottom. And I'm going to drag down and make that box a little bigger. And we're going to take a look at the search capabilities. When you're dealing with text and you input a text string, let's say AD, Excel will automatically truncate the list to show items that match the text string that you've entered thus far. The word advertising obviously begins with AD, and the word railroad ends with AD. So if I left-click OK, I'll get railroad and advertising. I'm going to left-click the drop-down again, select all, and start my search over again. And this time, if I want the text string to begin with a certain letter, let's say A, I need to input A and an asterisk, which is a wildcard, so that I get A and then everything to the right of A. And again, I can left-click to apply that filter. We already know one of the ways to clear the filter, and that is, once again, to select all, and the filter will be cleared that way. We can also click Clear Filter from Text. That'll clear the filter. I'm going to cancel out of that. And on the Data tab in the Sort and Filter group, we have a Clear Filter command that when we left-click it, we clear the filter that way. We also have the ability, of course, to turn the filtering completely off, and that will also clear the filter. We have the ability to filter by selection. We can choose, let's say, computer software, and then right-click to get the shortcut menu, and filter by selected cell's value. And when I click that, I that quickly filter on column D to show just computer software. I'm going to clear that. So I can filter on the value that's in the selected cell, but I can also filter on the basis of other criteria. And in order to quickly filter on, let's say, cell color, I can select the color that I want, right-click to get the shortcut menu, hover over Filter, and left-click Filter by selected cell's color. I'm going to clear the filter, and in addition to the cell color, we can also filter on the font color. I'm going to clear it again. And if we want to have the option to filter on either one of those, we have fill color and font color here. We can use the filter drop-down menu to filter by color and select either the cell color or the font color. And lastly, we can select and filter by selection on the cell's icon. And these are conditional formatting icons that are displayed, which are covered in another movie, Conditional Formatting. So that was filtering the data. We started by turning the filter on, and the filtering mechanism can be found either on the Home tab or the Data tab. We looked at the filter drop-down menu in the three data types, value, date, and text, and set up some filters and utilize the search functionality with the text fields. And we also filtered on selection with first the value, and then the cell color, and then the font color. And with the drop-down menu, we have the ability to select either the cell color or the font color. and then we selected a cell that had an icon and filtered on that.